This is the Wally and Methot Show, powered by Barrhaven Ford. Now here are your hosts, Brent Wallace and Mark Methot.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. I'm Brent Wallace. He's former NHL defenseman Mark Methot, who happens to be the acting lifeguard on duty for today's show. We'll get to more on that in just a moment. But first, this is episode 28 of the Wally and Methot Show, powered by Barrhaven Ford. Just a reminder, you can go in now without an appointment and go check them out. Look at the Roush-inspired BFC customs on their F-150s, their Mustangs, their Rangers. Also coming up, Barrhaven Ford is having a demo and a used car clear out on June 17th and 19th. Largest inventory in Ottawa, 555 Dealership Drive in Barrhaven. All right, Meth, coming up later in the show. Craig is stopping by. He's got some news about some future shows he's going to share with us. God only knows what's going to happen. Also, our guest today in the Whitewater chat is none other than Thomas Chabot of the Ottawa Senators, the number one defenseman on the team without question. The chat brought to you by whitewaterbeer.ca. Don't forget to use the Wally Methot coupon code 15% off beer. Go to shopwhitewater.ca. And of course, the always popular 3 for 3 is back, Meth. That is brought to you by Faces Magazine. And trivia, we will have a golf prize back. But first, Meth, as you know, always, let's get to the headlines. Built by Bonnechere Excavating, helping to shape the Ottawa Valley. BonnechereExcavating.com. Let's go. Number one, nighttime. Vegas advances to the semifinal to face the Montreal Canadiens. The New York Saints. How did the Islanders beat the Bruins? Coaches quips. Bruce Cassidy, the latest in trying to take the heat off his team by taking to the microphone. Sticks and scrums. Meth, I don't get this. The carnage involved in scrums. Why don't players just drop their sticks? And summer lovin'. Did you actually have any summer jobs? Let's start with number one, Meth, and that is last night. The Vegas Golden Knights, I should say, punched their ticket to the semifinal to face the Montreal Canadiens. Your thoughts on what it took to get rid of the President's Trophy winning team?
Yeah, that was quite the series. I think a lot of us had, and Wally, I can't recall if you had Colorado moving on. I believe I did. At least we were teetering back and forth.
Only because you flip-flopped like a dead fish.
So, I know. But you know what? It's because I don't like sticking to one pick. You know, like when we're watching, and let me explain what I'm talking about. You know, going into the playoffs, you have a feeling that a team might do well, and then you know a couple games goes by, and you can kind of see a team evolve as rounds progress, right? So it's hard to stick to that one horse when perhaps you're noticing, especially for me, I've got a good pulse on the game. I can see teams evolve. But in any case,
so you're an expert.
No, I'm not an expert. But my opinion will change as things move forward. I mean, and Montreal is a good example, but we'll get into that after. I think with Vegas, for me at least, they just figured it out. Defensively, I think their group was stronger. That top four, I'm reluctant to say top four. All 6D are so well balanced, and I mean they're spreading out minutes between those three pairings. You got great goaltending from Fleury, and I can't stress this enough with Mark Stone. And you guys, I'm sure everybody that's watching can see it. He's literally dragging his team in a battle. There's times on back checks, like especially in that first period, where he's setting the tone by chasing down players, not only stealing the puck, but then making a play like vintage Mark Stone. And he's so competitive. I mean, it's contagious, and that trickles down throughout the lineup.
But here's the only issue with flip-flopping is you have to pick your team and stick with it. That's what you do. Like I could tell early, like I picked Colorado, no question. You can see it later in the series. Like, you know what? Vegas is really starting to move. Right. Same with Montreal, right? But you can't flip. I think you have to stay.
I hear you. That's besides the point. For me, what I'm saying is forget about our brackets. I believe the better team won this round. And it's funny because we talked about this during the regular season a little bit. Vegas just seems like they're built for the postseason. They're a little bit bigger, a little more physical, much better defensively. Colorado's got a couple smaller guys on D, not maybe as good as clearing out the net front. So for me, that was the best team won. But what a matchup this is going to be against Montreal.
But that's the problem with when we went through this. I mean, we flip-flop back and forth with these two teams only because they flip-flopped all season long at who's the best team in the National Hockey League, right? Like, sure, that was always the debate. So it was a great series to watch. And really, I don't know if you could go wrong picking either one, but I just had to feel like I had to stay with Colorado. Again, you have Mark Stone, and you couldn't switch that. So you win the series. So I will make you.
I don't. Yeah, yeah, but there's nothing to brag about here because, to be honest, and I think most people would agree, it was a coin flip, right? The series was a coin flip. Head to head during the regular season, they were almost on par with each other. I think in the end, it's just your captain is contagious, and Mark Stone's, his effort is so, like, if I'm on defense and I'm playing on that team and I'm seeing the effort he's putting in, I'm ashamed if I don't at least match that. So again, that's leadership coming through.
Okay, I'm going to go right into New York Saints in at number 2, because that almost leads me into how did the Islanders beat the Bruins? And I want to say it's because of their fourth line, and that being, how do you come off or go onto the ice after that fourth line comes off the ice and has dominated a shift and then not try and replicate the same thing, right? Like, are they driven by that fourth line?
Are we talking about the Islanders with Cizikas, Martin, and Clutterbuck? Yeah. No, I mean, of course. And that's been the common denominator for most of these teams that are, for the exception of maybe which team had their top line? Yeah, for the exception of Colorado, which was heavily relying on their top line.
Well, everybody else,
I know, but everybody else that's moving on is literally winning by committee. You're seeing it, right? You're getting production. You just mentioned that. So when a line and I can only imagine being a D-man, and I've been there playing against some of these guys like Martin, Cizikas, Clutterbuck, and these guys, this is like their bread and butter now. Now they're in the postseason and they're actually getting rewarded for that gritty play that they're presenting. So yeah, it builds, you can build off that if you're a teammate of theirs. And it's hard to play against. It can wear you down. It's a war of attrition when you're playing in the playoffs. Every little hit that's finished on you, you'll feel that over the course of 3, 4, 5, 6 games, and it just compounds. So they're building off that. And they honestly, Wally, they built a lot of this momentum off of Tuukka Rask playing hurt. Let's be honest. This is an opportunity that the Islanders capitalized on. And we just found out that Tuukka's been playing with a torn labrum. He's been playing through a torn labrum as a goaltender. So that's impressive. I got it. Hats off to, stick taps to Tuukka for playing through that. That's a battle.
Yeah. Does that say that they don't have enough faith in any other goaltender that they have, that they're not using Tuukka Rask, or that they're still using Tuukka Rask? Is it you're better at 80% than anybody else is at 100?
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. You have to ride your horse, right? That's just unless who's been split. I'm trying to think of the team that's been literally sharing the load. Was it who had the first? Was it?
The Islanders used Sorokin. They're the first team.
That's right.
I think.
That's right. They used Sorokin
one goalie
the entire
in one
round.
Yeah.
Yeah. So unless you have that luxury, which I don't believe a lot of teams do, that's tough. But again, you got. They're going to match up pretty well against Tampa. I think you got 2 interesting matchups here with Montreal.
Wait, save this for the sports interaction on the points, and we will get to breaking down these two, and then we'll get your take on who's going to win. Let's move on then. Number 3, coaches quips. And I always loved it. This is one of the best parts of the playoffs, when the coaches get involved and they try to take the heat off the team. We saw it all the time with Pat Quinn when he faced the Montreal Canadiens. How about Terry and Jacques Martin when they went at it during the Montreal series? And Bruce Cassidy, just the latest, calling them the New York Saints. This is gold stuff. This is what makes the playoffs. I just want to know, as a team, do you sense that your coach is trying to take the heat off by taking all the attention away? Or is this actually going to work when the refs show up for the next game and call your team better?
No one benefits off of your head coach going after the officiating. We know that. Look at the numbers. It wasn't just Cassidy. Was it Bednar that complained as well? No. And then they go on and lose 3 games. Same with Boston. So, if you're a numbers guy and an analytics guy, I think the takeaway here is never go after officiating, because if you go after officiating, you're literally throwing your team under the bus. And again, it doesn't do anybody any favors pissing them off, because they're controlling the game for the most part. We talk about game management, which was controversial throughout the year. But for me, when a coach speaks out a little bit, it's fun, right? We had that with Paul McLean in Ottawa when there was the back and forth in the Montreal series. That was entertaining. It brings entertainment value to the series for talking points. If you're a fan or you're on our side, it's very entertaining. But as a player, when you hear your coach going after officiating, that can raise some red flags, because there's cause for concern there. You don't want to be under the microscope.
And Brian Burke might be the all-time favorite of, right, when he was saying, like, the Sedines doesn't stand. It's not Swedish for like punch me, hold me, hook me, all that stuff. Like that stuff is so good.
I love it. I love it.
I can never get enough of it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sticks and scrums. Okay, Meth, explain this to me, and I've wanted to know this for years. If you're all going into a scrum, why doesn't anybody drop the stick so that they're not
easy?
Everybody's eating lumber. But the thing is, though, when you celebrate a goal, guys are doing it too. Like, how many times have you eaten a stick where your team has come in and your teammates hammered you in the face with the stick because he won't put it down? I don't get it.
Yeah, it happens sometimes, but the goal thing, that's a one-off. But I think with the scrums, it's pretty simple. Guys, when you lose your stick, you're basically suggesting to your opponent that you're ready to fight with them. And 99% of players in the NHL don't want to fight. So I think it's common that you'll see in a scrum, guys are holding on to their sticks only because the moment you drop that thing, you're basically suggesting to your opponent, okay, let's go. It's time to fight. So it's as simple as that. I'm surprised players don't eat them more often, but we're so used to engaging with players and grabbing onto them with our sticks in our hands that you're just good at avoiding it. It's quite frankly as simple as that. I wish I could add a better story to it, but
how many times has a linesman come in and gone, drop your stick? How many times inadvertently have you been clubbed?
It happens with lineys when they come in and they might get caught, or there's something that comes really close. You hear them immediately screaming at you, and there's an F-bomb thrown in there, and it gets your attention as a player, and you just apologize immediately after the fact and you move on. But again, that's why scrums a lot of times are really stupid. When everybody feels compelled to just grab another player to show that they care, it means nothing. I mean, it's more of a thing where you're just trying to demonstrate to your teammates that you're engaged and that you're there to defend them. But again, it's more for optics.
All right, let's move on. Finally, summer loving. Have you ever worked?
This was a
summer job?
This was an interesting topic because I'm thinking like, okay, what's the attempt here? I have had jobs though. And the more recent full-time job that I had before I started playing pro, I worked at Dallas Lake Marina, where I was at the canoe and kayak rentals. And I was there for a few years, at least 3 or 4 years. I started when I was 14, and I went on until I was drafted into the NHL. And it's funny because when I was drafted by the Columbus Blue Jackets, I had to go back to work the next day at the marina. I'm putting friggin' tourists in canoes and kayaks in the sun all day long, like nightmare. And when I was working occasionally on the marina side, I'd be pumping crap out of boats. So I'd have to go around to where the pumps are, where the gas pump is. And there was also a crapper pump. And I'd put this long tube into the waste portion of the boat and pump out shit. It was brutal. But yeah, like, again, it taught me to appreciate what I currently have now, right? And that was a good learning experience for me. I'm making, $12 an hour doing that. It's probably less than that, actually. I believe it was minimum, which was $7.89 when I first started, but progressively got higher as I went on. But yeah, good experience for me. And when I was drafted, the TV station came in that day and interviewed me when I was wearing it was on the new RO. I don't know if that footage can be found anywhere, but it's hilarious. And then shortly after that interview, the boss decided to treat me to a free lunch upstairs.
Nice. Now, did you have your name on your shirt?
No, there was no name tags, but again, it said Dallas Lake Marina and it was my work shirt. And I would do pull-ups often during the day on the bars that we had there and little workouts in the sun. It was fun.
What else did you do? Are you not a certified lifeguard?
I delivered the penny saver. Yes, sorry. I'm also a lifeguard. I did my NLS. I got my NLS done when I was in my early teens. My brother actually ended up becoming a lifeguard. He did it as well. It never really amounted to anything with me, but I'm also a certified lifeguard. I didn't enjoy it. We had this swim test we had to do to get there. And I had to do that for my bronze medallion, my bronze cross. Those are the 2 steps before getting your full certification. And you had to do laps in an Olympic sized pool. And I think it was like, I want to say it was like 12 to 18 laps. I forget the number, but I was gassed. And I was probably one of the only actual athletes, but because I carried a lot of muscle mass, I wasn't buoyant at all, right? So I'm swimming, like just grasping for air, but a good life experience. Leave it at that.
On that note, I was in university and I was taking phys ed, and you had to do a swimming test, and we had a swimming class, and I had to do the breaststroke, and I couldn't. So I stopped 1 lap in. I'm like, I'm done. I'm out of the
pool. You couldn't do the breaststroke.
No, I just couldn't figure it. It's too weird. I was into the doggy paddle.
Oh God, that's embarrassing.
So my first, I want to say, you talk about minimum wage. I think my first was either $4 or $4.25 an hour. I worked at Canadian Tire.
Nice. That's
I
great.
ended
That's
up,
a good job.
Oh, it was fantastic. I was employee of the month, September 1990.
Wow.
Yeah, I have a name tag. Anyway, I have 19 stitches and a broken toe and a missing toenail from working at Canadian Tire.
Workers' comp? Was that a thing
I
back
got
then?
like $400 when they crushed my foot. So I got like 5 stitches here and 19 in my elbow. It was a mess.
Nice.
Anyway,
Good for you.
Yeah, the doctors all knew me at the hospital. I was like Tim Allen, for crying out loud.
Well, you had your Canadian Tire shirt on last episode, so it was perfect.
That was Petro Canada, and it's different.
Oh yeah, my bad.
I do have my, you know what? I'm going to find it. I have my name tag from that when I was employee of the month. I'm going to wear it next episode.
Awesome.
Yeah, those are the headlines brought to you by Bonisher Excavating, helping to shape the Ottawa Valley. BonisherExcavating.com. All right, time for a quick break. When we come back, Thomas Chabot interview, coached by whitewaterbeer.ca. Use the Wally and Methot coupon. Don't forget they have free home delivery. Whitewater brewed by friends for friends. Again, try that Dawn Patrol. I know Meth just tried it the other day.
Really good.
Yeah, it's fantastic. You're watching the Wally and Methot Show, powered by Barhaven Ford. Barhaven Ford celebrating their 1-year anniversary this month. They want to celebrate by giving away up to $2,000 in incentives as a gratitude gift for their anniversary special. Stop in today, 555 Dealership Drive in Barhaven. We'll be right back after this. Welcome, Thomas Chabot. It's good to see you again, my friend. It's been a long time. How's the summer going?
It's been good. It's been good. Obviously, with everything going on, not much really going on other than golf. But no, it's been good. The weather's been nice, so it's been nice to enjoy some time off.
You missed, I think, the last 4 games of that regular season with an injury. How long did it take you to get healed and get, I guess, swinging the clubs?
It took me a little bit longer than expected. Obviously, as soon as the season ends, usually that's what the kind of the first thing you want to do is get out there and play some golf and do something different. But obviously now I'm feeling a lot better. Took a couple of weeks of doing some rehab and everything, but now it's all good and feeling good.
Shabby, where are you right now? Are you in Ottawa or are you back home?
No, I'm in Ottawa.
Okay, right on. Okay, I wasn't sure. Okay, well, I'll have to get out and golf then. I'll have to bring you out.
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't gotten invited once yet, Shabby. So I guess you're way up.
I haven't gone out. I haven't, because of this show and how busy we are. I literally haven't golfed once yet either, Brent. So it's all good. We'll go together.
Yeah, my feelings were hurt. That's okay.
All right.
One thing, Shabby, is were you disappointed at the end of the year with the way the team was playing? Obviously, disappointed to get hurt, but not to be in those final 4 games with the way Ottawa had played. I think in the last stretch, the last 12 games of the regular season, Ottawa was the second best winning percentage team in the entire National Hockey League.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, looking back on the season, that's always one of the things. It was so much fun by the end of the season, just the way we were playing. Not that we were necessarily winning every single game, but just the way that we were coming out every night and really battling and showing that we could play against any other teams. Obviously, we definitely had our issues against Edmonton this year and going 0-9 against them. But other than that, we've proved that we can have some success against teams that, I mean, you see it in playoffs now. Those teams are winning rounds, and we've had some success against those teams. So obviously, it always sucks to get hurt. I mean, any hockey player would tell you the same thing. You never want to be sitting in the stands and watch a game. You kind of just want to be out there and play with those guys.
Wally, Shabby, what changed? Because Wally was talking about the little streak there at the end. Obviously, you guys struggled at the beginning of the year. That was to be expected, I think, for the most part. But then things really flipped. What was that turning point? Or is there a moment you can think of that kind of changed things during the year and for the better?
Yeah, you know what? It's kind of it's not necessarily a moment. I think it's mostly as a group we kind of just realized that we're actually good. And like I think when we started the season, we knew we were going to face those big teams that all made the bubble last summer, and they all won a round in the playoffs or whatever it might be. So I think we were kind of maybe sitting back a little bit to start the season, kind of not scared, but kind of a little bit shy at first. And I think as the season came around, we kind of realized that, okay, we are young, but we do have a lot of talent. We do have a lot of very talented players, and we can do something as a group. And I think we kind of just took off from there. I think our younger guys are really stepped up in the role they were put in. And I think that kind of led us to finish in the last 30, 35 games really well.
Did you guys have a belief in the room at coming down the stretch? You're like, if we had gotten off to a better stretch here or a better start, we probably could be in the postseason. And then on top of that, when you see that you're 6-3-1 against the Montreal Canadiens this year, could the Ottawa Senators have been the champions of the North?
I mean, it's hard not to think about it, seeing Montreal win those rounds right now. But no, I think that was the biggest thing finishing the season that kind of hurt the most is knowing that in the first 15 games, if we would have won, we won 2. So if we would have won maybe 5 or 6, not even going 500, then maybe we would have been a point or 2 points out of the playoff spot down the stretch, let's say with 5 or 6 games left. So no, that was definitely one thing that kind of hurt at the end of the season, knowing that if we would have won a few more games starting the season, we could have been in the mix. And obviously now seeing Montreal win every one, I'm definitely not saying that we would have done the same thing, because it's not that easy, but we definitely did have some success against those guys this year and during the season. So obviously I think it comes back to what I was saying earlier. We're such a young group, and I think that's just a learning curve for us to realize that when the season starts, it matters right now on game 1.
And on that note, Shabby, when you talk about being a young group, and this is a tough question, I'm sure, but like, as far as leadership goes, do you feel like you guys have that right now in the room? Or do you feel like because you've been around long enough now, I know you're still very young, obviously, but do you feel like you're missing still like a couple really good veterans to come in and perhaps help out with that, like you saw with Montreal? Or do you guys feel pretty confident with the group you have right now?
Obviously, I do feel like we have some good leadership in the room, but I mean, you know it as well. You went along for around so long that you do need some older guys at the same time to kind of guide you, because I truly, even though it's either myself or Josh Norris or those guys or Brady even, that we do consider ourselves as leaders, but at the end of the day, when you're young, and things don't go your way, you do kind of get emotional, and that's when the older guys really help you kind of get over that. And obviously we did add a few pieces this year, early on this year, with Steppen, with Coburn, with Goodbranson. Don't want to forget guys, but they do definitely help us as younger guys, and more than often we definitely do want to take the role that we're in. And I do like to say that I like to be a leader for this team, but at the same time, you do need help from older guys that have been around for a while. And obviously, like you said, it's only my 4th year in this league, and you're learning every year. And I'm not ready to say that I've seen it all right now.
Yeah, I feel like your 4 years though in the league with the ice time you're playing is probably the equivalent of my 10 years. So it's okay. And I'm sure you're a great leader. And that, I wasn't implying that you guys need guys to be the captain. It's clear to me that you and Brady are the 2 guys right now. I just, when you're watching a team like Montreal, having those like role guys that can come in and actually play well and help with leadership is always helpful. That's why I brought it up. So.
Yeah, no, that's why you're right on it. I think it's not necessarily about being a captain. Obviously is always a great honor. Like, don't get me wrong, it's great, but at the end of the day, you know what a locker room is, and sometimes some guys never wear a letter or anything, and they're still the guys that are stepping up and helping everyone. So yes, it is a huge honor, and that'd be great for everything. But I mean, at the end of the day, having older guys around and helping you every other game, or whenever it's going well or whenever it's not going well, it's always good to have.
Yeah, well said.
On a kind of circling back to the playoff thing, you have never played a playoff game, and I'm curious of how much you've thought about this team eventually making it into the postseason.
A lot, to be honest. I think we're looking forward to next season for sure. I mean, we're still going to be young, and we're going to have a lot of guys on their second year in the NHL, which everybody always says it's the hardest one to get through. But I mean, I think at the same time, it's kind of time for us to start betting on ourselves a little bit and take a step ahead. Yeah, we're young, and yes, we're not all over 26, 27, 28 years old. But I mean, at the end of the day, we've been together long enough now that I think it'd be good for us to take a step and really prove that we can be there. And we've shown that this year. We came close, and obviously we want to even keep that going and really make it happen next year. But I mean, at the same time, it always comes back to we can't look at ourselves like a Tampa Bay Lightning or Colorado Avalanche. We got to know where our position is too. But I mean, everybody wants to win. Everybody wants to make the playoffs. That's our goal every season for sure.
One of the things I'll even say the organization has talked about, and it goes down even to Troy Mann and Belleville, is trying to create a winning atmosphere. So that last 2 months where you guys were, I think, 12th overall in the league, how important was it as you go into the off season of creating that winning culture, of knowing that you can start to turn this around?
It's huge for sure. I mean, any year that you're not winning many games, it gets hard. It gets hard to go to the rink, and it's not always easy. And when you start winning games, everybody comes back, whether you had a goal or you didn't score for 5, 6, 7 games straight. I think you still come back to the rink and you feel good about yourself. You're happy to be there, and practices are better. So I think all that together is huge for sure for us to finish the season the way we did. It's a big step for us, and it really shows that we do have the right pieces, but obviously we want to keep adding over the next couple of years to really take that core group that we keep talking about over the last couple of years to really take a step all together and really build a team that we can not only make playoffs, but really become a team that makes it every year.
You have played the most ice. You've averaged the most ice time in the NHL over the last 2 years, 26 minutes and 7 seconds. You led last year, 2 years ago, and you were second this year. Do you sleep for like a week straight once the season's over?
No, I don't. No. I don't know. A lot of people ask me that question, to be honest, and my answer is I don't really know how that just happens. I guess it's just the way I am. I don't really get tired out there. I do, obviously, on those long shifts and everything, but I've always kind of been like that. I've always skated for hours and hours, whether it was in a hockey game or it was when I was a kid at the outdoor rink outside during the winter. So I don't know. I never really had an answer for that one. I'd like to say that I do work really, really hard in the gym, and that's what happens. But I mean, it's not where it's coming from for sure. It's just the way I am, I guess.
Does that change your approach then for the summer, like for training and stuff like that? Like, are you going to take an extended period off, like a month, and then get back into it? And when you do get back into it, do you focus on different stuff? Like when I was playing and I was coming into the league, the narrative was always, you got to put on 10 to 20 pounds of muscle. You need to be strong and heavier. And I feel like it's changed now, and it's all about speed and finesse, right? So is your approach any different now, knowing that you have to take on that big load during the year?
A little bit, but at the same time, I mean, you guys see me, I'm not the biggest guy. So my goal in every single summer is always trying to put weight on and get stronger and all those things, right? Because I definitely do need it. But at the same time, I've kind of always been doing the same thing the last couple of years and working out. You know how it is. You kind of get in your routine, and you work with the same people and you skate with the same guys. So I've kind of kept that going, and that's definitely one thing back home in Quebec where I work out. We definitely do a lot of cardio. It's a lot of running, and which kind of makes it hard to put weight on at the same time. But I mean, with everything that we have now, from protein to tools to help you, I think it's kind of a bit easier now to put some weight on. But at the same time, it's a good thing you said that, because you definitely want to put weight on, but at the same time, you don't want to lose your skating. You don't want to come back too heavy and now you're slow on the ice. And
exactly.
But those are the things I think every summer it comes back to the same thing. Keep trying to get stronger and everything.
Do you lose a lot of weight during the year because you skate so much? And even this year is compacted so much. Is it tough for you to keep weight on? Like how much did you lose from the beginning to the end? Was there much?
You know what? I've only lost 2 pounds during the season. But the biggest thing would be before a game, I usually weigh in around 194 ish. And after the game, I'd probably be 191, 190, sometimes lose 3 to 4 pounds in one game. But I mean, most of the time it's mostly just water, and you haven't had food since 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So as soon as you eat, you kind of get that back. But no, my first 2 years in the league, I used to lose 5, 6, 7 pounds. Especially my second year in the league when I started playing a bit more, again, more ice time. I lost a lot of weight, and I kind of, with Schwartzy and Rob in the gym, we kind of try and get that to keep the weight all season long.
Nice.
You talk about your first couple of years in the league. Mark Crawford was the D coach. Now, I'm told he was very hard on you. We haven't had this discussion, I don't think, ever. So was he extremely hard on you, or did you two get along? And what was he like as a coach for you?
You know what? He was definitely hard on guys. That's for sure. And everybody knows that. But in some ways, when he was hard, it was always trying to get the best out of you. It wasn't in the way that he wanted to make you think you're the worst hockey player. It was the total opposite, actually. It was about trying to push yourself and trying to be better. And obviously, when you're your first year in the league, you kind of just sit in the room. You don't really talk to anyone. You kind of just sit in your spot quiet. And to have Mark there to kind of give it to you at times, it definitely does get hard. But I always come back and saying that I was lucky enough to be there with Brass was there, Pedro was there. We had a bunch of guys there to help me out. Alex Burrows was there too. The French crew really helped me to kind of stay there. But I mean, the 2 years I had him, it was definitely, it was great. Like he is hard on you, but at the same time, he just wants you to keep on getting better and kind of keep improving in your game. And it's always been something I appreciated for sure.
Which player in that room that I think you've played with 91 skaters or something like that over the tenure of your career with Ottawa? Has there been anyone that's really been, I guess, the biggest influence in the way that you play the game?
You know what? My first year in the league and the chance to play with Eric was definitely one of the biggest, the biggest thing in my career so far. Just being a kid and watching him on TV and seeing him do those crazy plays, but now to actually be on the ice and seeing him do them while I'm on the ice with him was definitely definitely something pretty cool. But I mean, there's a lot of it along the way. I mean, Pedro was huge for me. I think my years here before he left, he was just, I mean, Pedro's just the way he plays the game. He's just so smart. He's just works his bag off every day. And obviously off the ice, he's just the best guy. It's just the funniest guy. So, I mean, to be around him was definitely one of the guys that I thank a lot for sure.
Who are you cheering? Which former Ottawa Senator are you cheering for most in the playoffs to win the Stanley Cup now?
Right now, it'd be Pedro. Yeah, for sure. It's been texting him a little bit. Yeah.
And I mean, he's playing extremely well. Has he talked about how well he's played? And I know that seems like an odd question.
No, he'll never talk about it. But I mean, that's Pedro. That's just playoffs. When playoffs come around, he's just, I don't know what he eats before game one or whatever, but he just turns into something different, and he just turns it on. That's what he does.
Yeah, and you don't ever gloat. Yeah, and I was gonna say, you don't ever gloat about it. Like when you're in the middle of the playoffs and maybe you are playing very well, people are trying to get a hold of you and talk to you, but you almost disconnect from everybody, right? Like you don't want to acknowledge what's happening on the ice. I found just pretending like I separated myself from all those people made it easy. I feel like Pedro's taking that approach. He's just kind of going day to day, worried about the hockey and not worried about all the outside noise.
Yeah, that's probably what he does. And he's always been good at that too, I think, with even, I mean,
very good at
playoffs. I've never played in playoffs with him, but just like in the season, he definitely does a lot for the community when he was here in Ottawa. But at the same time, he kind of just, when it's time to play hockey or it's time to practice, he just does that. And then when it's time to take care of something else, he kind of just goes and does it.
Yeah, I agree with that. Good point.
Let's get to the World Championships. I don't know if this is a sore spot for you or one that you're happy to see your teammates in Nick Paul and Connor Brown and Jacob Bernard-Docker, and of course all the support staff, win the gold when you should have been there, but the injury kept you out. So a little disappointed?
Well, you know what? For sure, I was disappointed. At the same time, they wanted me there, and I wanted to go as well. But I guess they definitely didn't need me out there, so they got it done. So that was good. But no, I mean, to see the tournament, how they obviously won the gold medal. When I watched it on TV and I saw them winning, obviously it kind of hurt, because knowing that I wanted to be there and I wanted to play that tournament, and I obviously never won that tournament as well, so it would have been pretty cool. But at the same time, it's just cool to see those guys. I mean, we had Johnny and Dom that were there for the staff that have been there a few times, but Alex was there for the first time, and he's 100% there. He just wins gold anytime he goes, I guess. So, and to see, I mean, that overtime goal to see Connor Brown and Nick Paul connecting there for the winning goal, the golden goal, I think it was pretty cool, man. It was fun to watch, and I'm very happy for those guys for sure.
People don't understand how great the World Championships is. And Mark and I talk about it all the time on the show because we've both been there. And I know you were there in 2019, finishing second and losing that tough one in the gold medal game. Just how great that tournament is. And obviously the feeling of them getting to throw their gloves in the air. It's almost like you're a kid again. You get to just have a yard sale all over the ice of what that moment must be like for them.
Yeah, no, it's so much fun. And especially the biggest thing for me was the first time I went there is to see how different the crowd and everything is too. It's just an experience to go there. Plus you get the chance to play hockey probably somewhere you'll never get the chance to do so. So the whole experience is just a blast. The off the ice part is even better too. We just get to know guys that you'll probably never get the chance to play with, and we hang out a lot, and it's a fun time, the entire experience. And obviously for those guys to finish it by throwing their gloves up in the air, I mean, it just makes it even better. And it's a whole celebration with the gold little sparkles, the sparkling or sparkles, whatever you call those, that they toss on the ice at the end for the team picture. I think it's just a cool experience. It's a lot of fun for sure.
It's also really long. And Shabby, you're super positive. You're a much more positive guy than I am. So I commend you for that, because I can be very negative. Everyone knows that. That's 4 weeks. And you're in that little hotel, and there's no, like, you're going around the streets a little bit, and you're seeing the area, which is awesome. But I feel like by week 3, with me at least, you just sit there and you've already played like 10 games, and you're like, oh my God, this is a grind. And you just finished an 82 game year in the NHL, right? So anyway, good on you for being very positive about it.
It definitely does get definitely does get a little long, especially, I mean, you always get up for those games against Russia, States,
yes,
and those,
the big
you know
games.
what I mean? And then the smaller countries, obviously it's fun to see them and get the chance to play against them. But at the same time, when you're done, like you said, after playing 82 games, you kind of just want to get to the actual stuff, to the medal rounds, and play those games and play the big games that actually really matters.
Yeah.
Because you were in Slovakia and you were in Košice, which is the smaller town of the two. Were you tired of walking that main street all the time? Because that's the only place you could go.
Yeah,
there's only the one street, but
Košice is great though. It's a great city.
Yeah, we actually had a blast there, but there's only the one street that we kept just walking there. There's maybe 5 or 6 restaurants. So when you're there for over 20 days, then you ate at them for probably 10 times each for lunch and dinner. Man. So, but no, it was fun. It's always a fun time, especially the time bringing your family in too. I always bring my mom in with me, and my girlfriend also comes, but just my mom to have the chance to kind of go there. She's just loving every minute of it. Like Mark said, we've already been there for 2 weeks. You're kind of just tired of everything, but no, when you get there, it's always a fun time. It means that you get in the quarterfinals and everything too. So it always so it's just a fun experience overall.
This is supposed to lead now to the Olympics, right? You're going to be on this team just as a stepping stone to the Olympics. Do you get a little more excited knowing the Olympics looks like the NHL may be on board here?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, the last time I remember the last Olympics, and watching the hockey games just wasn't the same. Like as a kid watching them and seeing all the best Canadian players going at it against the other country. I mean, it was just great. I mean, when we remember the World Cup they did, I know it's not the Olympics, but just the level of hockey and the talent of hockey players that they play on the ice is just special. So obviously, if the NHL players go to the Olympics, it will definitely be fun to watch. Is
it fun to see your name always being mentioned in the top 8?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's definitely huge. I mean, it's always a bit harder at times. Like we were talking earlier, I still haven't played 1 playoff games in 4 years in the NHL, and obviously that's a tournament of you got to win every single game, and it's just a 1 game. It's not even a playoff series or anything. So But no, it's definitely an honor to see your name there, and that's definitely something that I don't think about every day. But if I do have the chance to be there, it'd definitely be great, and it'd be a fun experience for sure.
When I think of the Olympics and what all that transpires, like, do you spend much time thinking about it and leading up to it? And I mean, every year there's a Team Canada Olympic team, all these pundits talking about it. Like, do you just go about your business? Is there anything does it cause any extra stress in your game?
Not really, to be honest with you. It's just, I mean, there could be 12 people that put me on the team, but if the GM of the team doesn't take me on the team, then it doesn't matter what everybody else is thinking at the end of the day, right? So that's kind of the way I see it. I mean, I don't put pressure really on myself. I just kind of try and focus on my season and with the Ottawa Senators, and then if it happens, then great. Obviously, that's going to be a fun experience, and I definitely would want to go, but I wouldn't be ready to say that I put pressure on myself. No, I'm just going to go out there next season and try and play my best. And if I make the team, then that'll be definitely really awesome. If not, then roll up the sleeves and keep working. And hopefully the next ones, I'll be there.
You always put yourself out there. You're on social media. You like to be part of the community. You've seen a lot of stuff, I'm sure, lately of social media, whether it's Mark Scheifele and talking about his parents getting threats and all this stuff that's going on. How do you manage your social media and how you handle all the negative stuff that comes your way?
Yeah, I mean, that's it always. That's one of the issues nowadays with social media is, I mean, everybody is allowed to have an opinion, but everybody kind of has an opinion in the way you play and the way you do things on the ice, and which I think is fair. I mean, that's fine. I'm not getting offended by that, but like Mark Scheifele said, that people are going after his family and his parents. I mean, that's kind of pushing it a little far. I think it's, at the end of the day, Mark is the hockey player. Our parents were there to support us our whole life. They don't really need to know that the guy from Guelph, Ontario hates my parents. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think my parents really need to hear that. But I mean, social media, it is what it is nowadays. It's it's on Instagram. People are going to say what they think about you, and you got to manage it in doses. Obviously, if you can't handle it, if you can't handle the negative parts, then don't be on social media. But at the same time, when things are going well, it's also a lot of fun. You get a lot of support from a lot of fans, and they really tell you how good you are. So I mean, it's both ways. But I mean, we're in a world that we're in a country that hockey is the biggest sport. So you're not always going to be the best hockey player, and it's not always going to be perfect. And I think you gotta expect that going into social media.
Do you, I thought of this year in social media, I think you took a little bit of a hit where people said you struggled an awful lot. Did you feel like your year was a bit more of a struggle? And just so we're clear, Meth picked you as the team MVP, by the way.
Appreciate that, Meth.
That's true.
But no, yeah, it definitely was hard at times. I'm never, and like I said, during the season, a few games I made a mistake late in the game, and I don't shy away from it. I mean, it's not the first mistake I've made, and I mean, hopefully it'll be the last one, but it probably won't be. And that's what it is. I mean, I'm a guy that likes to carry the play and make plays and be the guy with the puck. And if we're down a goal, I want to be the guy out there. If whatever situation it might be, I want to be the guy out there making it happen. And obviously when it works, then everything's fine. And when it doesn't work, then obviously you're going to take a lot of heat from it. So I mean, it's the way it is. And obviously my season went good at times, and it went bad at times. And I mean, that just makes me a better player. I think at the end of the day, we're trying to learn, and we're in a situation right now that we're not pressured to make playoffs. So it's the time to make those mistakes. It's the time to keep on learning and growing as a player. And I think that's what happened this year. I wouldn't be ready to say that I had a bad season, and I'm far away from that. But I definitely do think that there's a few games that I could have been a bit better. But it is what it is. I mean, it's the hockey world, and you got to perform every night.
Yeah. And I think in your case, and you handle it so well, Shabby, like hats off to you, because you do handle the criticism well. And I think a lot of it is unfair, because what a lot of people don't understand is that when a team is struggling and you're playing 30 minutes a night, you're going to be getting some minuses. Like, you're going to be exposed to a lot of the bad stuff that's happening on the ice, right? So I think most people that have a pretty decent mind for the game understand that. But you guys, we were talking about this earlier with social media. I think it's that very loud vocal minority of people that just want to spew nonsense and be negative. And I don't think it's a fair shake. So just so you know, you handle it very well, and you're very much captain-like in your responses. So well done.
Thank you. Appreciate that. But no, you said it. I mean, social media is a big thing, but I mean, as much as there's people saying how bad you were last night at whatever game it might have been, as much as there's people sending you DMs saying, "Oh no, you're the best player, you're blah blah blah," even though it's not going great for you. So it's never going to be perfect, but no, I mean, it's part of it. It's part of the game. You've been through it, Meth, and you know how it is. And social media now, especially this year. I mean, this year was such a tough year for everyone, and hockey was the one thing on TV every night. So, I mean, I respect everybody's opinion, and that's fine. And at the end of the day, you're the one going out there every night. And one night they didn't like the way you play, but the next night they're still cheering for you, and they want you to be the best for that team.
Yeah, and do you guys talk about that during the year? Sorry, Wally, I just wanted to ask this last one on this topic with social media. Shabby, do you guys talk about it now? As far as, like, you got a very young group in that team, in that locker room. Does DJ or anybody come in before the season started and address social media with the young players? Because I feel like that could have a serious effect on your game if at that age, without really knowing or understanding, right? Because it can be very overwhelming for a young player. Did anybody address that at any point?
No one really addresses it. I think we just kind of help each other. I mean, we all have an iPhone now. We all have Instagram, all those things on it. Like, you can say you don't have Twitter, but guys still look at it, right? It's just
they've got the burner accounts
now. Yeah, exactly. So that's the way it is. And I mean, you're not dumb either. Like, if you open up Twitter, you open up something, you see if I'm getting, like, let's say it's you and you see I'm getting roasted on Twitter, you'll see it. So I think we kind of just help each other with it. I mean, it's not the end of the world either. Most of the time, what's nice about hockey is you play hockey 48 hours later, so you don't really have to think about it too long. And then most of the time after the first shift, you don't think before a hockey game what whoever said on Twitter about you. I think yes, you do after a tough game, but then the next day it's just, okay, whatever. It's, you move on and you keep playing. And I mean, it's part of it. It's grown bigger, social media. So I guess now we're just going with it. I mean, it's part of our lives now.
Yeah.
Is your Twitter burner account Hot Sam Botchko 72 by chance?
No, it's not. No, that could be a good one though.
No one would ever figure it out. I'm curious. You talked about everybody helping each other out in the room. This team now that some veterans have been moved out, is ridiculously young. And you've got guys with great personalities. It seems like Nick Paul and Tim Stützle and Brady and Colin White and all the, and you, like, what is this room like now? It just seems, we make a big deal of it, but I think it's underrated of how close you guys probably are.
Yeah, it's especially this year being in kind of like the bubble type thing, mostly having dinner with everyone every night and just hanging out together in the lounge all day long. I mean, it's a lot of fun, man. It's a blast for sure. I mean, every guy in the room is from 27 to 18, 19 years old. So, I mean, we're all in the same kind of place in our life. And I mean, no, it's a lot of fun. We have so much fun in practices. We when it's time to work, we work, but we just make it fun every day. And we're in some ways kind of immature a little bit because we just have so much fun all the time. But no, it's such a good group of guys. We, like you said, we have some guys like Paulie and Whitey that just keep the room entertained at all times, and they just always have something to say about everything, and it just makes things so much fun every day to get in the locker room, and there's going to be some kind of argument in between Connor Brown or Chris Tierney and Nick Paul. So it's just a blast every day, and no, we definitely do have a lot of fun. Yeah.
If you had to take a 5-hour car ride with Nick Paul and Colin White, who's the first guy to get kicked out of the car?
Ooh, probably be Whitey, because Whitey just talks. He just talks, and he always has something to say, and he thinks he's right all the time too, which makes it even better. It would be Whitey, because Paulie talks a lot, but he knows when it's time when everybody's quiet. He knows how to be quiet, but Whitey just always loves to talk to everybody. He's the best.
How big is Paulie? Just because I don't want to lose sight of him just for a second, and you're obviously the right person to ask. How much has his game improved in your eyes, at least over the last couple of seasons? Now that he's a full-time established player, and you saw him at the Worlds playing very well there too. Like, what are your thoughts on him and the season he's had and his role moving forward?
Oh, it's been big, and I mean, you guys saw it. He's been wearing the A for a big part of the season as well. So, no, I mean, I wasn't there the first time he got to Ottawa, obviously, but from the time I've known him for 6-7 years now, and his game's grown so much. I think he's realizing how good of a player he is now, and he's getting more confident with the puck, and he knows. I mean, look at the size on him. Anytime, any night he goes in the corner, like, defenseman can't move him. He's heavy, he's strong. I work out with him in the summer, and it's everything seems easy for him. It's just he's a horse, man. He's really good too. I mean, playing hockey, I think he grew a lot this year. He plays PK, and he plays his role really well, and I think he's done a great job for us. And I think it's just starting. He's going to be a big part of our team if one day we win, and I think he's kind of realized that a bit more now.
Is he still crushing the fitness tests? I never knew that about Paulie. Like, I had no idea when I was there that he was always finishing at the top, but apparently he's just destroying all the tests. Is that true, or is that exaggerated?
No, it's true, man. It's everything. I swear to God, like, I worked out with him last summer, and everything you do is like just super easy with him for him, I guess. And we always joke around and who's the better athlete, and he's just a full-on athlete. Any sports, anything we play, ping pong, he's good. Whatever it might be, other than cards on the plane, he's really good at everything else.
Oh, that's great.
You lived with Brady Tkachuk, or you roomed with Brady Tkachuk for 1 or 2 years. I can't remember now, but are you a little disappointed that you don't live in the frat house with Norris and Stützle and Brady?
Actually, you know what? No, I'm kind of nice at my house doing those nice home cooked meal, and everything's good. But no, I went a few times last year. It's fun to see those guys all together. And it goes from Norris and Brady. They obviously have been knowing each other for years, and now you have that Jimmy who just I guess I've heard a lot from those guys that Jimmy is not too much to handle, because apparently he just sleeps all day long, and he just naps from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. I've never seen anyone do that before, and just shut it right back down at 10:30. So I guess he's not a whole lot to take care of, but no, I guess from the stories we've heard, these guys have been having a blast living all together.
What's your reaction to seeing all the fans and kids show up the day that and throw all the hats when he got his hat trick in the backyard?
It was amazing to see that. Obviously, that's always the thing that comes back from last season, is we miss the fans. Like, playing in empty buildings, it's just not the same thing at all. It's always harder to get up for, and I mean, fans don't realize how big of an impact they have in a game, and Meth would know. He probably even worse in playoffs. I mean, I've never played a playoff game, but when the building gets really, really loud, they can change the game themselves. So to see them go and do that to Jimmy, I mean, Jimmy it's awesome to see how, even though after those years that we did struggle, to see fans keep sticking with us and believing that we'll be a good team eventually, and we'll have a lot of success. To see them do that for Tim, it was definitely cool.
Did you miss not having Brady as your roommate?
You know what? I thought I did starting the season. I thought I was going to miss a roommate, but being on your own in your own room, it's pretty cool. It's nice. You get a lot of quiet time and alone time, and but no, I did miss. I mean, Colin White's not going to be happy for me saying that one, that I did miss Brady as a roommate, but but no, it was fun. It was fun. Mostly having a roommate was fun after games to just kind of just talk about everything else but hockey to get you asleep and kind of get your mind off it. Now being in your own room, you kind of tend to think a bit longer about it. But no, we do still hang out a lot together. Like I said, this year we were in that bubble, so after every game we get together, most of the guys on the team, and we just kind of hang out and have fun.
All right, just give us the lowdown. No one's going to see this. Is how much have you talked to Brady about the contract?
You know what? I've talked a little bit with him, but I'll let him answer that question to you.
She just put the C on you already. Okay, some off out of the rink questions, if you will. Do you have like a specific French cuisine that you like to, a dish that you like to have?
Wow, that's a good question. My favorite dish to have is lasagna for some reason.
Oh,
I don't know where that came from. It's not like we did eat some growing up, but like not a crazy lot. Like we did eat it once in a while, but for some reason, it's always the thing that I want. I just love lasagna. I don't know how to explain it.
now is this a pre-game meal at all?
No, it's not
Okay.
a pregame meal. No.
Do you always have the same pre-game meal?
At home, yeah, and on the road, yeah. I switch it up in between. So at home, I'll have mostly pasta, and on the road, I'll have fish.
I'm going to look up your stats from road to home. Figure out what you should be doing.
Yeah.
Okay, what about a tortillere?
Torch, yeah. What do you want to know?
Like a meat pie.
Yeah.
My wife's family is French, and her mom would make this thing. There's no chance I'm ever touching this.
No,
Are you a big meat pie kind of guy?
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I was
Tortilla's
gonna say, what's wrong
unbelievable.
with you, Wally? Tortilla is like the best thing. Like we crush it with ketchup all the time.
Oh yeah, you put heavy ketchup on it too.
Big time.
That's
it's
because
funny.
you got to get rid of the flavor.
No, the flavor's really good. There's like spices in it. It's really, if you get a good one, it's legit.
Yeah, if you get one from Quebec, it's good.
I agree.
100%.
Well, this will lead into our favorite question, and that is, if you're at home, you're watching your movie, what's your favorite cheat snack?
Oh, candies, 100%.
What kind of candy?
Any kind of them. Any
Okay.
kind.
All right,
I'm
fair
a big, honestly, I barely eat chocolate or chips, but I can dummy bags of candies. Like I love candies. Any
Like
kind
Skittles?
of them. Skittles or like, I don't know, gummy bears or Sour Patch Kids, whatever it is. Whether it's sweet, sour, it doesn't matter. I love candies. That's my thing.
Gummy
My
bears.
teeth
You
hurt.
said gummy bears. Do you get that like from the corner stores now? Like the edibles?
Not these guys.
All right, fair enough.
All right. So DJ Smith is now, he's been behind the bench for 2 years. What is your impression of DJ Smith and how he's been able to coach this hockey team?
It's been good. He's a very good players coach. I mean, he can always get to him, talk to him, and he understands what you're thinking. Obviously, he played the game as well, so that always helps. And he's made that group better for sure. I think you've seen it this year, just how we started from last season to this season that we just finished, and how well we finished the season. I think he's trying to create an identity for our team and to really work every single day. And it happened a lot this year in practices that he had to blow the whistle and make sure that we knew what we were doing, and we knew that we're not just practicing. We want to really build this team to be successful in the years to come. And I mean, he's been great, and personally to me, he's been great as well. He's always been helping me on being the best defenseman I can be, and obviously working a lot on my defensive game, and he's helped me a lot with that. That's for sure.
The one thing I remember is anytime I was at practice, and it didn't happen all the time, obviously, is you two would have long chats, it would seem, at the end of practice, and occasionally, not all the time. Is that strictly hockey, or is there a lot of life chats just going on in those chats?
You know, that's what's fun with DJ is most of the time you'll see him before practice, just talking, whether it's to me or talking with guys on the team. And you can go from talking to certain plays from last game or the way you play to strictly talking about, I don't know, Brommer, one of our equipment guy, or you talk about anything, right? That's what's nice is yes, when it's time to play hockey and talk game, he's always there, but you'll see him a lot talking to the players even after practice once we're off the ice, to just talk about life and talk about funny things and insane stories. So I think that's definitely something guys really appreciate, is you definitely can have a normal and non-hockey related conversation with DJ.
Brommer continues to be the most mentioned person on our podcast.
He's a beauty, that guy. Beauty.
He's the best.
Yeah. Yeah.
The best.
Finally, before we let you go, what is next year going to look like for the Ottawa Senators? Is there any question that this is a playoff bound team?
I do think so. I think we really have a good chance. Obviously, we know what we have right now, and we definitely want to keep adding pieces to our team to make our team even stronger and better. But I think starting next season, I think we got to realize that it starts right away, and it's not going to be any easier. Even if we go back to the Atlantic Division, when you look at the teams that are there, it's still really tough to get a spot in the playoffs. So it's going to be hard for sure, but I think our group really believes in it.
I lied. I should never say last question. I forgot to ask you about Artem Zub. And for the guy that no one really knows anything about, what can you tell us about Artem Zub?
We don't know a whole lot either. He doesn't really speak a whole lot of English, but no, without messing around, I think he's you guys seen how good he is. I think as the season went along, I think he adapted really well to the style of play of hockey there's out here in the NHL. And I mean, I skated with him before the season started, just playing games and 3-on-3. And honestly, it's you can't get by the guy. He's just, the way he plays defensively, it's just, he's so strong and he plays the game so well that obviously I think he's going to be definitely a big piece in what we're going to be in the next couple of years. And I think he's got his first season under the belt, and I think he's just going to keep on improving. I don't think we've seen a whole lot of it, but I think he can actually make a lot of plays and make some really nice plays. I mean, he scored a few goals this year that you're kind of like, okay, like you didn't really see it coming, but like, I think he has that in the bag as well, that's really going to help us.
Finally, I'm sorry, I always do this, I'm going to put you on the spot. And there's been a lot of chat about this top 4D that the Ottawa Senators need to acquire. Is that because you need someone to play on your right side, or is it for somewhere else? Do you need, who do you need to be a D partner with?
You know what? It's a good question, because definitely if we want to be a team that makes it, when you watch those teams, I don't know, Tampa that won last year, their top 4 is very, very strong. I mean, the year that you guys went all the way to the almost to the Stanley Cup, I mean, the top 4 was solid. It was a lot of talent, strong defensemen. So I mean, if we want to get there as a team, it's definitely an important piece. And I think we have some younger guys coming as well that could play in that role too. But I mean, for me playing, I've always tried and get along with my partner, and just whatever he does and whatever I do. Obviously, I'm a guy that likes to get the puck, so it's always nice to have a guy that'll give it to you. But other than that, I'm not very specific, to be honest with you. It's always been pretty smooth.
Yeah, and he puts you on. That's a tough question to answer if you're a current player, because obviously you're not going to throw anybody under the bus. I don't even expect you to comment on that. I think from Wally and I, from watching you guys, especially with you, Shabby, I think you need a guy that can really move the puck well. But I think more importantly, you just need a little more depth. So again, thank you for that answer. We know there's not a whole lot you can say, but I think we can all agree that if there's an opportunity for the team to find maybe a top 4 guy, even if it means putting him on the second pairing or whatever, I think the team would do it.
Yeah.
Shabby, we appreciate your time. Yeah. And if Meth ever asks you to go golfing, don't be afraid to ask me at the same time. Okay. Appreciate your time. Have a great summer.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, time for On the Points, brought to you by sportsinteraction.com/Wally and Methot. Sports Interaction is Canada's odds makers. Head over to sportsinteraction.com/Wally and Methot to get in on the action. Must be 19 years or older. Okay, Meth, I made you stop earlier on in the headlines. Didn't want to get into it now. Let's talk about who's going to win these two semifinal series. And let's start, by the way, first time in 150 days, there is no NHL hockey on television. That, of course, will start tomorrow as the Islanders take on Tampa. But first, let's get to the Vegas-Montreal game. And that is, who are you taking?
I've got Vegas. I've been wrong about Montreal every single series so far. But at some point, you got to think that I'll be correct here. But I am in some weird way cheering on Montreal because they're the underdog. But I quite frankly think Vegas is going to overwhelm them. I think they're just a little better in just about every area of their game. So I'm going to go with Vegas in 6, just because I like their makeup. I like how deep they are, especially up front. I think their D-cores match up a little bit. I think Montreal's D is probably a little bit better defensively, but you got a little more offense out of that Vegas D, especially with that top pairing. Pietrangelo was an absolute beast this past series. Martinez is really good too. He's played very well. It's a very good pairing. Their minutes are very well balanced. I just think Vegas's forward group, led by Mark Stone, will be a little too much for Montreal. So I'm going to go with Vegas in 6.
It's interesting. Okay, who's going to be the leading scorer in that series?
Oh, I could be a homer. I guess I don't want to say a homer. I'm not playing for Vegas like I always claim to be. But I'm just gonna go with the sure thing right now because he's a fun guy to cheer for. And Mark Stone, I'm expecting big things. He likes to elevate his games, his play when the games are really on the line. I'm going to go with Stoney.
He does love playing against Montreal, and he was really good in the Montreal series, despite that. I remember the microfracture whole incident with PK Subban. First of all, I'm going to take Vegas in 5. I think if they get back to Vegas, they can wrap it up. But if it gets to Montreal in 6, the series will go 7. I think just Montreal can probably win with home ice. I can see Jonathan Marchessault becoming the leading scorer only, right? But the thing is, I think Marc-Andre Fleury and Jonathan Marchessault, like the French Canadians, who are going to end up going into Montreal and having that atmosphere, and they've probably all grown up, right? Exactly. Yeah. So
that's how I felt. The same thing. I get it. Yeah.
So I think Marchessault probably has the big event here, and we'll see if it can continue on. All right. Nice. So here we go. We've got both Vegas. I'm going to take Vegas in 5. Meth is going in 6. Now let's move on to the Islanders Tampa. And there's no way, Matthew, you can take the Tampa Bay Lightning. It is unconscionable. You cheer against Jean-Gabriel Pageau.
I have them going. I've got Tampa going the whole way. So yes, I'm going with Tampa. I think this another great matchup though in Barry Trotz. And the way the Islanders play now, where they've gone basically from one of the worst defensive teams to one of the best, especially as of late. So I think it's a hell of a matchup. I just think Tampa's just, again, another situation where they're just going to overwhelm them. They're scoring by committee. They're getting good production out of everybody. Their D-core is sick. Their goaltending is sick. I got Tampa in 6. I like the number 6 on both these series. I got to give the benefit to the Islanders a little bit. I think they'll get a couple games, but I don't believe it'll go to 7. I still think Tampa in 6 is the pick here.
So when the Islanders win in 6, will you bring on Jean-Gabriel Pageau and apologize publicly for taking the Tampa Bay Lightning?
Yeah, sure. I mean, again, I hope Pedro does very well. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of his. I just think Tampa's that much better.
I feel like we need to have some kind of bet on this.
Yeah, we can.
I don't know what it is.
We'll figure it out. out. Why don't we sleep on this in our next show? We'll come forward with what our bet is.
Okay, that's fine. Who do you think is going to be the leading scorer with this series? It could be either team.
I'm going with the controversial Nikita Kucherov and how he's miraculously come back to play up after missing an entire year.
It's been investigated. It's nothing's it's all above board.
Yes, and everything's been done within the legal measures of the NHL. So I'm not going to be here complaining, but I do think Kucherov's the guy. He's been unbelievable. Just watching him and the confidence that he's playing with right now is incredible. So for me, he's the no-brainer.
The one thing that's impressive though is the fact that he's come back with a year off.
That's what I mean.
Playoff time when the playoff hockey is on a different level and he's still dominant.
Yeah, and
regardless of all the other stuff.
I can't say to you how difficult that is to do as a player. Like I really can't emphasize that enough. It's one thing to go out there and play a very easy defensive game where you're whacking the puck up the wall, but to go back in there and look like you haven't missed a beat offensively, to me is no short of a miracle. So good for him. That's how special of a player he is.
Now, I want to just point out, one, I think Brock Nelson will be the leading scorer. Two, the Tampa has allowed 5 times they've allowed 3 goals or more in a game. I think that the Islanders can get to them, and they're going to play that annoying, in-your-face, pressurized hockey game that they play. I'm going to go, the Islanders are going to win this in 6, and they're going to the cup final.
That's a heck of a pick. I like this. Okay, so you've got the Islanders in 6. I've got the Tampa Bay Lightning in 6. Okay.
Can't wait for whatever we're going to do to whenever I want $1 million from you.
But it's also interesting. I just want to add one last bit. This is 2 very good coaches going at it here. So it's going to be a chess match as well. It's actually an incredibly intriguing series for me. I'm very excited for this one. So it'll be fun to watch.
It'll be fun. This semifinal, I can't handle calling it the semifinal when it's used to always be the conference final, but this semifinal, both sides should be very interesting to keep track of. And we will, with all our sports interaction picks, but those are the picks for now. Now go make yours at sportsinteraction.com/Wally and Methot. Sports Interaction, competitive odds on all sports. All right. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back after this. You're watching the Wally and Methot Show, powered by Barrhaven Ford. All right, welcome back to the Wally and Methot Show, powered by Barrhaven Ford. Head on over to 555 Dealership Drive in Barrhaven, where they're paying top dollar on trade-ins with no obligation to purchase. All right, Meth, time now for 3 for 3, presented by Faces Magazine. Check out the latest article on Jean-Gabriel Pageau, who's headed to the Stanley Cup final, and more at facesmag.ca. You completely missed that. I basically said Tampa is going to lose. All right.
I didn't even notice. Anyway,
I know. All right. Number 1, could you beat Logan Paul in a fight? Of course, this stems from the fight he just had. I don't know why we're spending time on this. It just blows my mind that the guy, I think, just made like $20 million for no real reason. Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's 26. He's a YouTuber. And, him and his brother have been through a lot of controversial stuff, but we're talking about it because he just fought arguably the GOAT of boxing in Floyd Mayweather. So it's newsworthy. And first of all, to answer your question, absolutely not. This guy, what people need to understand is that these brothers, despite all their shortcomings, have been completely dedicated. They've completely dedicated themselves to the sport of boxing, to fighting and sparring and training, and they've been doing it now for years. Now, can they beat a seasoned boxer, in the same weight class? Obviously not, because we're comparing apples to oranges. A guy that is used to doing YouTube to a seasoned fighter who's been doing it their entire life. But the point is, I think what I'm trying to say here is that we have to respect them, respect the hustle.
No,
look at it. Look at it. They're grabbing eyeballs. They're making money.
I know.
And they're doing their thing. I didn't contribute to it because I knew it would be a joke. The fight, from what I understand, wasn't great. There was a lot of hugging,
that's the problem.
But okay, but Logan Paul is not going to trade punches with Floyd Mayweather. You're not it.
No, I think it's the other way around. I think Floyd Mayweather just wants the paycheck and will just stand around.
Of course he just wants the paycheck. He's retired. Of course he does.
Who are all these people giving up hundreds of millions of dollars? I want you all to admit it.
Pigeons.
Don't forget shop.wallymethod.com for that.
People are just, no, it's simple. And I'm not faulting the people. A bunch of my buddies got together and I was invited, obviously, to go watch the fight. And I'm like, what? So you want me to stay up until 2 a.m. to watch a YouTuber fight Floyd Mayweather, who this is clearly a money grab. Most fights are, but especially in this case. And then Chad Johnson, Ocho Cinco fought earlier on in that fight as well in the prelims. And I mean, he was on the card and he did pretty well too. So I respect it. This is a new thing that's happening now where these fights through Triller and other corporations or businesses are promoting these fights, and they're doing well and they're making money and they're drawing eyeballs and fans to the pay-per-view tickets. So, I mean, hats off to them. I respect the hustle. No, I would never be able to beat up any of these guys or fight any of these guys because they'd literally feed me my own lunch. I've never trained. I did a lot of boxing training earlier on in my life for about 4 years, but they're on another level.
Was Eric Carlson one of the guys who spent the money?
I don't know. I'd have to ask him, but it wouldn't change my feelings toward him. It just sucks. To touch on that, though, being here on the East, It's brutal. Like whenever because I'm a big fight fan. I like to watch UFC and boxing. Huge fan of all of them. I'm a huge Tyson Fury fan. I'm a Bronze Bomber fan. All these guys, like I watch them all, but I just can't justify staying up that late. It sucks. I hate having to crack a beer open at 10, 11, or even 12 p.m. to watch the main event. It's too late.
You're so old. I love it. All right.
I know.
Number 2, how do you prefer to vacation? Hotel with a pool, cottage near the river, RV at a campsite, or just stay home?
Depends. So the stay home, if it has to involve my children, I love them to death. It is not, that is not, it's not a vacation for me to take them somewhere. I joke about this with my wife, Ellie, all the time. Whereas so leave the comfort of my home with all my amenities here and go somewhere where there's more work and less toys for the kids, or stay home. But if I can leave and pawn the kids over to my in-laws and go somewhere, I would choose in a heartbeat going down south where I'm on a beach. I love the ocean. That is my pride and joy. Anytime I can get in that salt water and just heal, that's what I do.
You know what the thing is with the kids that age? It's so much gear you've got to put in the back. The stroller, the playpen, all the toy. So
for you and Craig, it's different because your kids are all a little older. For me, my kids are basically both toddlers. They're babies in a way.
Yeah.
Too much work. Like I just couldn't. Like I would literally have a panic attack on a vacation.
I want you to take them camping. That's what I want.
No, I have a hard enough time camping. We have a cottage that has air conditioning, by the way, and I still refuse to go up there with the kids. It's just I don't enjoy it. Once they're older and they can go on the boat, they can fish with me, those things, then I'll go up there more often. Right now, it's an empty property that my parents are having to look after while I stay home in Ottawa.
So good. All right, number 3. Best road trip sandwich. Is it the PB&J, the egg salad, tuna salad, or the ham and cheese?
Yeah, well, I like this one. Okay, I'm partial to the egg sandwich for almost any occasion, but just a tidbit for when I was on the road, particularly in the playoffs, and I forget the name of the place, but we were in Boston, and I don't know if we've talked about this before, but the best lobster rolls I've ever had were in Boston. And it's a thing that I go to now. I'd have to Google.
I remember. Yeah, I've heard about this.
It's a small chain, but it's incredible. Yes. You kind of go in order style, like at the counter. It's not like you're sitting down in a restaurant, but awesome. Lobster rolls are my go-to whenever I can find a good lobster roll.
Wow. Okay, but if you're driving for a 10-hour trip and you've got to make a sandwich, what sandwich? You're making an egg sandwich?
Egg sandwich in a cooler, because obviously you can't let it rot there in a hot car, but egg sandwich.
So do you put anything in it?
Yep. I'll add, what do I add for spice? I'll usually add a little cayenne pepper. And I chop up green onion and celery as well, throw it in there with a little bit of mustard and mayo. And I mix it all up in the bowl and lather it on the bread.
And mayo? When did your parents, when they made you sandwiches for school, put butter on the bread?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes, but my dad was always the guy that made egg sandwiches. There was never any butter on the bread. But you knew but I always knew it was my old man when he was making a sandwich, because it was either a mock chicken sandwich or an egg salad sandwich. There was nothing else.
I love egg salad, by the way. I'll put relish in it, which makes it it's anyway.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, and celery. And celery is good too. But my mom would make us sandwiches for school, PB&J, and you could take peanut butter back then. There weren't the peanut allergies I had to worry about. And she would it was real butter. So it was a thick layer of butter, then peanut butter. And then I can you not make your kids, so you can't send your kids to school anymore with peanut butter? No, not till high school.
Jesus, are you kidding me?
Do the sun butter. I can't
roll my eyes back hard enough after hearing that.
No, there's lots of peanut allergies. You got to take care of everybody. Yeah, no chocolate. I don't think. No peanuts. Also, no fun. You can't have any fun.
Fun sponge. Okay, anyway, sorry. Let's continue.
Fun. No, that's it. We're out of here. That is 3 for 3, presented by Faces Magazine. Lots of great stories at Faces Magazine, facesmag.ca, I should say. Also follow them on Twitter at Faces Ottawa. All right, Meth, before we go to take a break here, a little bit of sad news. We got to pass away on Thursday. Blair Tetro, a good friend of ours, passed away. And many of you may not know his name, but you're well aware of his work. Blair was a live sports broadcaster. He was a director. He was a technical director. He was a producer. But more than that, he was just a great friend and a really great father. He'll be sadly missed. Now, here's just a great story, though. In 2018, Blair was directing. It was a a regional game between Ottawa and Edmonton in Ottawa. And so Blair was directing the Edmonton version for Sportsnet. His son, Scotty, who's a great friend of ours, was directing the Ottawa side of things. So father and son directing the same show, 2 different broadcasts. It was really a great moment for everybody, and especially one for Blair and for Scotty, how proud they were to work almost side by side. And so from Craig and Mark and I, we want to pass on our deepest condolences to the Tetro family and, of course, to Scotty. And just wanted to say we're here for you. So Blair Tetro passed away on Thursday, 62 years young. The Wally and Methot Show will return right after this. All right, welcome back to the Wally and Methot Show, powered by Barrhaven Ford. Craig joins us now. Craig, so apparently you've got some news to share.
Yeah, so we've been doing this show, episode 28. Boys, we've done 28 of these. That's amazing. I mean, I can remember back when we were just talking about starting to do these and trying to wrap our heads around doing one. Yeah. So anyways, we've done 28 of these now, and it's time to start kind of mixing it up, trying some new things. I think we've got the interview show down pretty good. So now we want to add something different. So I've convinced you to allow us to do a live show. So we're going to start.
You've convinced Meth.
I've convinced Mark Methot to allow us to do a live show, and reluctantly tugged Brent along with us. So that's going to be fun.
I am a creature of habit, and I don't like you messing with my schedule. And now I'm terrified.
Yeah, I feel bad about that, but I'm a creature of constantly evolve and try new things. I think you guys are going to love it. I think fans are going to love it. It's a great opportunity for us to chat with them, provide them something real time. So our next show, which will be on Monday, we're going to go live at noon Eastern on our YouTube channel at Wally and Methot. So it'll be exciting. I don't know. You're excited? Matt, you're excited, right? I'm
ecstatic. No, I am excited. It's a nice little, I think it's going to be a nice change and a different sort of structure to the show that we can look forward to doing. Maybe kind of just adds a little bit of an element of change for us. And again, makes Wally a little more uncomfortable too, which is nice.
Yeah. So I think we'll start. We're no guests on the live show to start, because let's get this thing working first before we start adding too many bells and whistles. So We're going to have a kind of a more free flowing live show. People can ask questions. We'll tell stories. We'll talk about the timely stuff. It'll be great. It'll be a lot of fun. We're going to bring some of our sponsors with us. Maybe we'll give stuff away. I don't know. We're going to do lots of fun things. But speaking of giving things away, guess what time it is, boys? That's right. It's time for Trivia. So we're going to give away some free stuff today. And today we've got a Bonesaw Sauce prize pack to give away. So bonesawsauceco.com, turning up the heat on hot sauce. So today's question, actually it's from our last show, was how many times did Ken Hitchcock and Lindy Ruff talk about the 1999 Stanley Cup winning goal? The answer, just once. So that was a great little story that Ken Hitchcock told on our show. And congrats to @Eric_Lacroix. Eric, you just scored yourself a bunch of sweet hot sauce from Bonesaw Sauce. We are going to shoot a DM to you shortly, so keep an eye on that. Some great locally made hot sauce. Be sure to check it out if you haven't already. bonesawsauceco.com. You want to do today's question? It's a good one.
Yeah.
Thomas Chabot. How good was that Thomas Chabot interview? You guys killed that. I mean, I love the way our interviews are going. Those are so good. So in honor of Thomas Chabot, who mentioned he's playing a little golf. Brent, you played a little golf recently. Mark Methot and I have not swung a golf club this year, so that's not good.
I don't know if it's considered playing golf. I was out and I had sticks in my hands.
Yeah, you whacked it around. You got to go to Edgewood. Hey, guess what? Speaking of Edgewood, our dear friends at Edgewood, we got another foursome with power cards to give away. If you can answer this extremely difficult question from our Thomas Chabot interview earlier today, which is which teammate would Thomas Chabot kick out of the car first? It's a nice little question Brent asked him. So if you post your answer on Twitter using the hashtag Wally Methot and tag @EdgewoodLinks to enter. Contest closes Sunday, June 12 at midnight, and you can book your tee time today at edgewoodlinks.com. It's exciting though, boys. You guys, Meth, you gonna golf anytime soon here? Now that the weather's nice?
I don't know. Probably not. I would love to get out, but it's hard with the 2 kids. So
it's so hard to
probably
carve
just keep
out.
hibernating. Yeah, I know.
Hey, I'm going to leave for 6 hours. Yeah, it's hard to do once you got kids. So hopefully we can find a time the 3 of us get around and knock some golf balls around.
We'll just strap them into the golf cart, Meth. They'll like it. Bring the dogs too.
yeah, okay.
All right. Also, don't forget you can order mugs and t-shirts at shop.wallyandmethot.com. And of course, if you like the content, please like and subscribe us on our YouTube channel. That is our show for episode 28. I also realized when Craig brought it up, the reason we haven't probably killed each other for the first 28 episodes, we're all in different spots. Yeah. So once we get to the same room, it may be over after 35 episodes. Thanks for watching the Wally and Methot Show, powered by Barrhaven Ford. Let's drive on out of here, Matt. See you later.
All right. See you guys.